All right, good afternoon, everyone. Will staff please confirm quorum?
President Huddleston.
Here.
Vice President Dornan. Here. Past President Winnick.
Present.
Director Altoran.
Here.
Director Fritz.
Here.
Director Garcia. And Director Brooks.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Quorum is present. The April 2nd, 2026 meeting of Strategic Housing Finance Corporation Board of Directors is hereby called to order at 1:32. We will now move on to agenda item 2, SIN communication. Do we have any registered speakers? Seeing no registered speakers, we will close citizen communication and move to administrative. We will close citizen communication and move to director's report. I recognize Executive Director Diana Gray for the report.
Thank you, President Huddleston. First of all, you have in front of you a hot off the presses in-house printed version of our now complete annual report. It is being printed right now, so colors will be more vibrant, margins will be smaller, etc. But we're very happy with it. It is up on the website and we will be disseminating it in the coming days. So very happy and lovely visages of our board of directors in staff throughout. Moving on from that to financial report, we are reporting at the end of February. At that time, we had a total of just over $25 million in cash on hand, including or excluding the Housing Production Fund and Portfolio Fund. We have 18.79 months of operating cash available for the organization. That's split between our operating account, our operating reserve established by the board, and some unallocated cash as well. We had some modest revenue in February, including $15,000 in application fees. We are currently at $170,000 in income for the year, expenditures at $325,000. Our net assets are sitting at $25.7 million. A few reminders. Housing Work Summit is coming up. I know some of you have registered. We're excited to be sponsoring this year. I think there may be late registration available if you have not yet decided and would like to go. That's on the 17th of this month. On the 21st, we will have a property tour of residences at Ruby, which is our most recently closed deal and a workforce project off of Riverside. May 7th is our next regular board meeting, and then here in red letter, it is a change. So we had previously scheduled the Commissioners Court briefing for the 28th. Unfortunately, Commissioners Court canceled that date, and so this is the alternate date they have offered us. If you have issues, as I am seeing some of you indicate, talk to the president or staff offline and we'll see what's possible, but we were given limited options to replace that date. Any questions about director's report? All right.
Thank you for the report. We'll now move to item 4, the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes the following items. Item 4A, approval of minutes from the March 5th, 2026 regular meeting. Before I entertain the motion, are there any requests from the directors to remove an item from the consent agenda for separate consideration? Hearing no objections, the consent agenda is approved. At this time, the board will enter into executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with an attorney. The specific items which may be discussed in executive session are 4B and 7A. 5B. 5B and 7A. 5B, authorizing the mediation and settlement of negotiations of lawsuit against Cambridge Villas Limited Partnership and SHFC Cambridge Villas LLC, SRP Environmental LLC, v. Capstone Real Estate Service, Inc. Is there a motion to enter executive session?
So moved.
Second. Amazing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. The motion carries. Those not attending executive session, please kindly clear the room. The board is now back in open session at 3:33. We will now return to our action items 5A and 5B.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, there's an announcement. I think it's the.
Yep. Yes, please. So, President Huddleston, if you would like to orient us as to what number we are on the agenda, I can start introducing it.
We will now move to action item 5A.
Excellent.
This item is to prescribe the form and substance of an agreement to issue bonds, authorize the execution of such agreement, and include other provisions relating up to 50 million multi-family housing revenue bonds for Rundberg Flats. There was a typo on the agenda summary, said 50K. The resolution is correct at 50 million.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is why don't I pull it up? And sorry guys, we're having such a glitchy time with our technology today.
While we're waiting for that, for us to figure out how to get the presentation back up in normal format, do want to introduce that we do have, I believe I saw our friends at Helmington on with us. So thank you for waiting. I think we have Donnell and Cooper, I believe I saw. So this is going to be a bond inducement that's atypical to what we typically do. Typically you would do, there's Donnell. Good to see you, Donnell. Typically we would do an inducement for the bond lottery in around October. This is an inducement for what's called traditional carry forward. We'll have slides for this in a moment, but what traditional carry forward is it's a private activity bond term for the three types of state stealing that can be carried over for use by an issuer in the subsequent 3 years. So in layman's terms, what that means is you're asking, hey, if there's bond capacity in the state of Texas left over by November 15th, I believe it is, we would like to have the opportunity to utilize that in the following program year, which would be 2027. And so this is a measure that is being done just in case Rundberg Flats cannot close this year.
Because we had a previous bond inducement.
Yes, we had a previous bond inducement that this board approved in 2024 for this project. And I also just want to be clear today, this is the resolution is to approve the bond inducement. This is not to approve the partnership and an HPF housing production fund request. That will come in the coming months, in a month or two, to the board. So this is just for the bond inducement. And a bond inducement is not a commitment. It signals intent but not obligation to issue debt. So this allows us to go to the bond review board and apply for the traditional carry forward. So this is the first step in sort of the private activity bond process. So Rundberg Flat Basics, so this is familiar to a couple board members, but not mostly new to everyone else. This is at 204 East Rundberg Lane. And as I mentioned before, the partnership presentation will come later. We have an existing MOU on the old terms that expires in September 26. We'll deal with that at a future day, but just letting you know that we do have an MOU currently in place for this project. So you can see here the affordability unit mix. Now, this is subject to change a bit, and I'll tell you why. The Elmington had applied for rental housing development assistance funds from the city of Austin. And with that application came the request to lower the affordability for those units. However, the city ended up not awarding Rundberg Flats the amount of any RHDA funding for this project. So right now there are some deep affordability units in here that may need to change in order to reduce a financing gap that currently exists in the project. So we'll go over that in the partnership conversation we have at a future date. Or the housing production fund request rather. So this is the sources and uses as they stand in the last documents we received from Elmington. You will see that there is, the traditional debt, tax credit equity. There's a substantial deferred developer fee. And then there's also a housing production fund request of $6.5 million. Now, I will let you know that we're already in conversations with Elmington on reducing that request to seeing what might be possible to bring that down lower. Because as you know, or may recall, our maximum that we can do for a housing production fund for any one single project would be $5 million. So I've already been in conversation with Danelle about it, and we feel good about that. And then you can see the sources and uses there for the project. Now, I didn't say this verbally, it was on the screen. This is 199 units, just to be clear. And then this is just, you can see the strategic affordability impact metric, our internal way of evaluating how much production this will produce for our goals. So this is substantial. This one single project hits that midline goal that we set for the year. So that's an excellent thing.
This is what the current unit.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So it will adjust in some way. Maybe go up, or maybe go down a couple thousand. But it would not be too. I'm not expecting a huge drop because this is a low-income housing tax credit project. Those the way we've set up strategic aim, those score much higher because of the long-term affordability and generally that the entire or the vast majority of units are income restricted. And that's basically it. So again, this is for a $50 million bond inducement. That is money that comes from or is allocated by the Texas Bond Review Board. We issue it, and then it's bought by private investors. And so this is where we just serve as conduit lender in this capacity. But yeah, as you can see, Donnell is here on screen. He's here to probably answer any questions you may have for Elmington.
All right, thank you for the presentation. The chair will now, are there any questions? Director Winning?
Donnell, hi, I just wanted to see if you could possibly address the depth of affordability question based on the results of trying to get the additional funding for that, and can you speak to that at all in terms of how you're going to make it pencil at what depth of affordability?
Yeah, so first off, good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate you having me. Okay, I want to I hear a bit of an echo. So but no, so the way we would do it and what we've envisioned in our updates, we removed the 30 and 40% MFI units, and we just moved those to the 50% MFI units, which does reduce the need and reduce the gap to a degree. It pulled it down to closer to about a $5 million number, and so our hope and request, again, which is supposed to come later, we did put in a request to David per his comments for the Housing Production Fund funding opportunity to help close that gap. So that's where we are right now, based on current market conditions, interest rates, equity pricing, and all the other items that are causing Austin to be a bit of a tougher market to pencil these days.
And if I could add additional context, the RHDA request, I believe it was somewhere in the $8 million range. The city of Austin, of course, has much more resources than we do to provide subsidy, and that's generally about the amounts they've been making the projects of this size. So that was a tremendous hit to the sources of this project when they did not award it.
Thank you.
I was just curious. Hi, thank you for being here. Around not, receiving that award, did you all receive any feedback from the city with respect to not receiving it?
Unfortunately, it wasn't anything like useful or substantial. It was as plain and simple as they had us ranked out of 10 applications. I think we were ranked number 3, and I think number 1 got awarded, and maybe number 5 or something like that got awarded. So unfortunately, there wasn't like a hard and fast, if you do this, you would be funded. Now, I did get the understanding that it sounds like some of their funding had been reduced due to some, I don't know, budget cuts or some reallocations of funding. And so I believe originally they were assuming when the application was submitted back in October, they would be somewhere in the $40 to $50 million range of funding. And it sounds like they had been restricted down to closer to 10 to 12. So they went from thinking they had capacity to fund 6 or 7 deals to they only funded 2. And again, funding hasn't officially occurred, but they are recommending to be funded, I think, to City Council at the end of this month.
Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
Anything further? The chair will now entertain a motion. Is there a motion? Or do you want a second?
Second.
Director Alvarado. A motion has been made and seconded that the board approve action items 5A as presented. The motion before us is approved the agreement to authorize the issuance of bonds for Rundberg Flats as described. The floor will now open for questions. Any further questions? Now open.
I will
Yes.
have just a comment, not a question. I just want to say it's so important that we're moving forward on some kind of deal. We've been looking for, it's been a long drink of water here, waiting for something to come through. And yes, this area is an area that I'm very familiar with, and it is important that something that we envisioned 2 years ago before all the headwinds can now be, we can grease some wheels and get going on this. And I'm really looking forward to more deals coming before the board. So this is the kind of business we want, and I'm really happy to be deliberating on this today.
We got a lot cooking right now.
What's that?
We got a lot cooking right now.
I heard a little preview and I wanted you to tell us more. Yeah.
We got $14 million in potential HBF requests and 6 projects. That
This is what we want to
We're
hear.
now desperate for deals.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, the discussion is closed. We will now proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you, Donnell, for coming.
Thank you, Janelle.
Thank you for your occupancy out there on
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
projects. We like that. I like what you did at
Yeah,
Jaeger Flats.
we're
Yay.
excited, and yep, and we're excited. And we look. I should see you all next month. We've got another grand opening coming down the pipe as well. So look forward to seeing you all in person in May.
Thank you for being here.
We'll now move to action item 5B. This item is to authorize the mediation and settlement negotiations in the lawsuit involving Cambridge Villas Apartments Limited Partnership and SHFC Cambridge Villas LLC. I now recognize the staff for presentation. I believe we have covered
Correct.
presentation. The chair will now entertain a motion. Is there a motion? Director Groves, is a second. Director Prince. It has been moved and seconded to approve action item 4B, the motion before us to authorize mediation and settlement negotiations as presented. We'll now open the floor for questions. Are there any further questions? Great. I will now open the floor for discussion. Is there any discussion on this item? No? Fantastic. Hearing none, the discussion is closed. We will now proceed to a vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no?
No.
The motion carries. We will now move to discussion item 6A, board succession planning. This item is for discussion only. No action will be taken at that time. Amazing. Okay, so we have. So, executive committee and I, just as witnessing the board in the time that I've been here, believe that it would be advantageous to potentially expand the board from 7 members to 9 members. Any initial thoughts about that, Director Winnick?
Yeah, I don't envision that expansion. I don't recall much of a discussion to date, but looking forward to hearing more about it. I know that there are entities that are larger than ours with bigger budgets and more complex organizations under them. At the peer roundtable, for instance, which manage with a 5-person board. So I'm really interested in the rationale for the expansion. That's what I want to hear from you.
Yes, absolutely. I think expanding the board to from 7 to 9 would enable each board member to sit on one committee fully and not have to split time between 2 committees. So really looking at like making the most of your time and being able to really sink your teeth into one committee, I think would be helpful, since we have up to 3 directors on each committee. It can allow for people to be spread slightly thin. And then as far as quorum goes, I think it will allow us a little bit more breathing room to have quorum with the majority of members being, what's the majority of 9?
5.
5. So
Currently?
at 9. 5.
Are you saying 7 directors or 9 directors? Start over.
9. Expanding from 7 to 9.
Yeah.
So we'd have 1 more that we could have
Okay.
present for quorum. If you don't have any further thoughts, opposed? Yes.
So here's the thing, right? Each director is an event,
Mhm.
right? More seats, more variance.
That's fair.
More seats, more capacity.
Mhm.
So you are trading capacity for variance. What does variance mean? So people with outlier opinions, people with outlier style. And so as you get, more people, right, you can have a little bit more friction.
Mhm.
as you get smaller, right, there might be friction, but it's also easier to get to consensus. I don't have a firm opinion on it. I certainly have, experienced sort of we need more folks. What it really comes down to is the court.
Mm-hmm.
Will the court appoint coherence?
Mm-hmm.
If the court appoints coherence in terms of style, values, fit, then it's a really good world because there's more people to staff committees, more people to take in depth. People can, not be in a meeting and it's not catastrophic. There's better planning around who can take leadership. But if they do not have coherence, then you get more bites at the apple at the idiosyncratic and peculiar behaviors. So it's something to consider. I don't have a firm opinion on it. I can really see the value of it. I can also see kind of like, then it's just very hard for the staff to be able to tend to a higher set of needs where there's a lot of potential variance and a lot of specific individualized priority. Could you say more about how you would envision the technical aspect of the implementation change? We would pass a resolution asking the court to add 2 people.
Yes, correct. And something we've been workshopping, I believe when we did the board evaluation or something we did last year, we asked board members to, thank you. We asked board members to indicate if they had volunteer members in mind that would serve as advisors on committees like real estate committee, finance and administration, and whatnot. So the overall vision is to have volunteers on committees that will build a pipeline of directors that are of candidates for board vacancies. That would then be ready to be appointed to the board when a vacancy does open up, and their onboarding time and time for them to be effective would be dramatically reduced. And then if we expand it to 9 from the 7, then we can potentially get the time that they're volunteers to the time that they're appointed to the board more quickly, is where I was coming at it for. I think as far as like succession planning, we kind of want to have some continuity in like the direction that we were going, so all that efficiency is not wasted with half of our board being up for reappointment every other year.
Yeah, so remember, if you go to 9, there will always be a missing board member.
Right.
But you're right that if they good at onboarding, it's not a big deal because there's always 6 or 7 that are on it, and then the need to get there. It really comes down to, do we need so much capacity that we want to accept a little bit more variance? And I think that's a question that the folks that are going to be here for a while should answer.
Church Rose.
Yeah, I guess I'm newer to the board, so I acknowledge that I don't have the track record that the other board members do. But from what I gather, this is maybe the first time we've had a full board, and we've gone through extensive work with an external consultant to help us with our governance, responsibilities and how, staff versus board responsibilities are working. And I think I would just want to see that play out a bit, and to see like where the gaps and the capacity really do we really need more capacity? Is it additional board members, or can it maybe we consider the volunteer members separately? Like, you don't have to expand your board to continue to consider the volunteer members, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I think I kind of want to see it play out a little bit more. I don't think we've realized the balance yet. So that would be my opinion. But I'm open to, of course, folks that are interested in serving and adding, value or particular expertise that we need. But I'm not, I wouldn't be ready to, vote on expanding the board at this time.
Yeah, not a vote today.
Yeah.
That kind of goes back to I believe the first thing on the agenda as far as board succession planning. Julio, you're up for reappointment. I'm up for reappointment. Director Norman
And Director Arce.
and Director Arce are all up for reappointment this December. Julio, can you state?
I'll be continuing, thank you. All the, from the bottom of my heart.
I hear the pain in your voice.
It's been a great ride.
You've been very forthcoming with that for years.
Yeah,
It's
I
not a
believe in
shock.
succession planning.
Yes,
Yeah.
you've been succession planning
Yes.
for 2 years.
And Director Dorman.
And I will unfortunately be resigning as of the June meeting.
And then Director Arce is not currently here, but I will touch base with her, and I intend to stay as long as life circumstances are not outside of my control. But that leaves us with definitely one vacancy. Is there anyone else planning anything in December or this year? Great. Love it. Let's get through Director running.
Just a quick comment in the way that intergovernmental relations works, whether the board was, I know we're not going to vote on this today, 7 or 9, it will always be half whose terms will expire because it's a 2-year term, unless we also lobby for different terms. It will always be half the
Yeah.
board predictably expiring and needing to reapply, but then there's the unpredictability, so I'm not sure going from 7 to 9 changes that cadence.
We have asked a few commissioners in our prep for the May board meeting if they would be open to 3-year terms, and we've gotten a mixed bag. Some yes, and some want to see further work done on the issue.
So we're proposing 3-year terms.
I think that's, again, something we should discuss as a board. But we're trying to figure out at all angles, like, what are our options for succession planning. I think we want to make sure that, not all of the board rolls off at one given time, just so, to my previous point, like, if we're going in a direction, we can keep going that direction without radically getting a half new board and then deciding to go in a new direction. We've just lost all of the gains that we've made over the past X number of years.
Question, for the committee's point of clarification, do we state that we have to have 3 board members on each of those committees, or is it a minimum of 2? Minimum of 2, so,
It's in the bylaws.
yeah.
Yeah, and no more than 3, obviously, because
No, I'm not trying to scold you. I'm just saying if you want to, if somebody wants to.
I was
pull it
asking
up.
if we state it somewhere, so I will refer to the bylaws, where we stated that it's 2, it sounds like, okay,
and no more than 3 because of quorum, and
Yeah.
so that would
Yeah.
also
okay.
At our current.
yes.
So you've been vetting a little bit the expansion from 7 to 9,
Yeah, I wanted to understand all of our options as far as
and
it
what are we
goes.
hearing back on that?
Yeah. And I think if we feel strongly about it, it's something that we could definitely bring back to them. But I wanted to get all of the options that we could potentially entertain, vet them with you, put together a more formal plan, and then bring it to the commissioners' board. Does anyone feel strongly about a longer term, 3-year versus then we have a 3rd, hopefully?
Ultimately, you're at the mercy of people's actual lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you, if for those that are honor bound to be like signing up for a 3-year term to serve needy affordable housing people, whatever, it might be like, well, I can't commit to 3 years. And as the reason I've been so vocal about the years is because I wanted to finish up last December, but I knew that for a variety of continuity reasons and people that I had to stay an additional year, and I think a lot of people, I told you all kind of like how I keep the tally of how many folks I serve with. It's very hard to know for sure. Ultimately the court has to appoint with coherence and intention.
Mm-hmm.
I think 3 might signal a level of commitment that scares people. But like I said, I am open to any ideas for those that are going to be here for a bit. so that they get what they need.
Is there anything that anyone's thought of that could potentially ease succession planning, make sure keep rowing in the same direction that I have not already raised any ideas?
Well, just one thing, since we do have some data, I think somewhere, have we had an experience where directors are serving 3 years on the average? And if that's not even attainable, if we're averaging less than that, it does speak to the selection process that the court is going through. And it could possibly be something that we need to work on in our ongoing contact with our appointers is what are we looking at? And I know that other topics that Director Groves gave up suggested last time we were in session here was that we speak to our appointers on an ongoing basis about what is their strategy, what's our strategy, do they understand our strategy? And so it seems like there's some content to our future connections and engagements with our appointers that we could start to have like talking points on. That's not just prep for the biannuals, but it's actually ongoing through line questions. So I do agree with what Director Altamirano said about the risk of an expanded group is like, who's on it? Do we ever reach coherence? Because there is like some social psychology about what's an optimum size group and when do you lose coherence. So it is, I think variance is a real question at the larger size. So that's why I was asking what would be the rationale for it. And if our standing committees cannot be populated by 7 directors being on just 1 or 2 committees, then I think that is an issue. But I think it works that it's 1 or 2 with 7 directors with the standing committees. Just some factors I'm wondering about how you're seeing them as president.
I do think that if we do allow volunteers, advisors on the other committees, and that their intention is to eventually be a part of the board, I'm hoping we solve for that continuity problem by them understanding what they're signing up to prior to applying for the board seat, and that the court also sees their volunteer on their application and hopefully weighs that heavily in their selection process.
Weighs what?
Weighs potential volunteers on committees as weighs that heavily.
Oh, thank you.
Just last comment. I don't know if this is some feedback you have gotten or can get from Eileen on board terms average for this type of entity, and then also board size. I think that'd be a good data input, as we're thinking about this, but open to exploring, but I think there's a lot of, normalizing that we have to do under the structure and governance that we're implementing.
Does anyone have any further questions, comments?
Yeah, I really do agree that it's yourself and Dr. Groves and newer, members of our board that should probably be the driving force here, because since there are those who are rolling off. So,
Just to catch it, the court has to buy in.
yeah.
The court will appoint. If the court is not coherent with you, then it will be difficult. So I think you're doing the right thing by saying proposal, court chat, and that is a multi-year cycle. The other thing is remember the court changes itself. So there's gonna be new personalities, and so it's sort of like shooting a bullet at times in terms of their ability to have attention and consistency around it. So there's in terms of your priorities with the court, there might be opportunity costs in terms of asks. But it's important if we're at a place where we simply lack capacity for appropriate oversight.
Does everyone agree with having volunteers sit in on the committee in order to help build a pipeline of applicants to potential?
If they're good,
Well, yeah.
I think these are
That's
great.
but if it's somebody that's like, what's the difference between a 4% and 8% tax credit deal, then you've just added time.
Yeah.
I gotta explain things. That's not.
Mhm.
But if it's like if it was a grows, right? If you're getting a grows, yeah. But if you're getting a random do-gooder that just like.
Oh, that's what you used to call me.
Well, but this is the thing. That's what we all are, right? It's like pretty much, with the exception of the tenants, like we're all kind of a little bit random. And so if it's a random person that just likes affordable housing, and now has to get into the details of carry forward, there goes a lot of time explaining, what that is, and the expertise to matter. And what I was trying to say is like, if the court did not buy into. I've now spent time explaining what carry forward and 4%, 9%, and bond review board and blah, blah, blah is to a person. To appoint them, then it is just a lot of bleeding energy for, not getting actual capacity. It's like we're losing net capacity because we're spending time explaining for folks that are not going to end up here. And so the court has to really understand the transition scheme and how it's supposed to help them. The interesting thing is that, we've had this conversation before. We've learned some things from it. And there we go. I have no other thing else to say. Thank you.
Where were you going with that?
Somewhere.
It's 4:00. I was like, wait, let's.
Oh, you saw
I'm
a
done.
clock. Okay.
I'm done.
Director Winnick.
Yeah, I just want to say, again, in the bylaws, it does indicate that volunteers can sit on committees. It has been an authorization that we haven't entertained during my time on the board, but we certainly have discussed for years. And I do think that one of the predicates to it is having an onboarding process for those volunteers, to the point of what Director Altamano is saying. There's sort of this whole cascading effect that since the court doesn't know what an HFC does and doesn't understand what our deal structures are and what kind of skills it takes to deliberate, then their appointments are, random do-gooders like me. And if we don't have an onboarding process for interested volunteers who may be interested without knowing what an HFC does, then I would be very cautious about beginning to roll them into actual seats on committees until there's some kind of basic orientation, training, which maybe there's something we would discuss at the board. I don't know if XCOM is capable, is ready to do that and create that, or if you want the assist of the board, but that would be a precursor in my mind. But I really do think it does go back to how much are we educating our appointers every time we meet with them on what do we do and what are we looking for and what kind of skills have we really appreciated, in the positive that they've added to the board, like the groves and the dormants, the tenants, not the do-gooders.
Any further comments, questions? All right, I will take all those comments into consideration. We'll bring something back on what we think the comments would look like in policy form and in implementation going forward. And then we can do a vote on it. The build to rent housing model. We'll now move to the next item. Is it possible to do the build to rent housing model as a video? That you could send to the board?
Video or just cover it at a future meeting, most definitely. It's not important that we cover it today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
We don't expect something on the May agenda at this time.
We're expecting that a build to rent project may come before the board in May, well, a prospect that we're looking at right now. We could cover the build to rent primer discussion before, the board considers any potential partnership, or it's up to you. But I understand it's been a long.
We can
long
just,
meeting.
I think what, you're suggesting is we basically do it on Teams and record it and then share that with the board.
Is anyone opposed to that? Does anyone want to cover it? Okay, great. Okay, we will look forward to getting that from the staff. Thank you. There being no further business before the board, this meeting is now adjourned. Motion? Director Dorman, second. Director Groves, the motion carries and meeting is adjourned. The time is 4:12.
Thank you.